everyone, my name's Brin, welcome. Today we are going to do a class that's just for opening up the hips. It's kind of lower to the ground at times, but we can move around a little bit. So find what feels comfortable. We're going to find a seated position to start. If you'd like to, I was going to grab a pillow. Apparently I forgot my pillow. If you'd like to have a pillow, you can take one to elevate the hips. If you don't want a pillow, you can always stitch the pillow. Feet can be crossed, or legs can be crossed, or feet out in front or behind the head. No, I'm just kidding. Don't start that. Okay. Bring the hands, palm down or palm up, whatever feels most comfortable. We're going to use our inhale to just lengthen through the spine. And our exhale will drop maybe through the jaw, through the shoulders. Good. And just finding your own breath. Eyes can be closed, or we can just find a spot to gaze, whatever feels most comfortable to you. So because we're focusing on the hips a little bit this class, maybe just bringing the breath and the focus to the hips right now. Maybe noticing if they're tight, or if they're just holding tension in different areas. Or maybe they're like loosey-goosey and just really nice and happy. So just paying attention to what is up there. We'll take 3 last breaths here. Maybe using your inhale, lengthening through the spine, dropping the shoulders away from the ears. Exhale to just relax. 2 more breaths. Okay, awesome. We're going to take ourselves into hands and knees just to work ourselves into child's pose. So we're not actually staying in hands and knees. We're going to bring the toes together. The knees can be apart or they can be together, whatever is most comfortable for you. And from here, we're going to walk the hands forward, allowing the heart to melt down towards the ground, allowing the hips to sink down towards the heels. Just finding your breath. If we want to, the arms can always wrap around towards the feet here. Give yourself a hug. Or just maybe feels better in the shoulders, but finding the pose that suits you best. We'll gently use our inhale to bring that right foot up in between the hands. So we're slowly going to inhale. Bring that right foot up in between the hands. Right knee over right ankle. If we want to, we can tuck that left toe here just to find a little bit of an extension through the left leg, through the heel, and then maybe double tucking the mat for padding for the knee, or if you have a pillow, it's lovely to use. Okay, so if we get here and we're like, oh my gosh, the front of my left hip is insanely warm, and like, just stay. If it's painful, come back a bit. But if it feels just like a really nice stretch that you want to sink into, find it. Find what feels good to you. If we'd like to, we can come up to the fingertips, open through the chest. If we want, we can bring the hand to the top of the right leg. Hands can also be in prayer, or we can inhale them up. I am totally staying down here. Oh. And just breathing. Taking 2 more breaths. Good. From here, we're moving this into a little bit of a lizard variation. So we're going to walk that right foot out to the side of the mat a little bit, knee and toes in the same direction, and bring the hands to the ground, or if we have a block or a small dog, no, I'm just kidding, a block or a pillow, whatever you need here. And then just finding our breath. Thinking of opening through the chest still here, so drawing the shoulder blades down away from the ears. Taking 2 more breaths. Good. Use our next inhale. We're going to inhale. Walk that right foot back in line. And we're going to walk ourselves back to a half split. It is not as scary as it sounds, taking ourselves up really nice and slow. We're going to point the front toes to the sky, checking and making sure that left hip is over the left knee here. Thinking and maybe finding a little bit of openness through the chest. Good. This is that option for like props as well. So if we need to be up on the fingertips, awesome. But if there's a prop that we have around and we want to use it, go right ahead. Or we can bend through the knee just to take a little bit of that stretch away in the hamstrings if it's too much. Okay, taking some time. If you want more, lengthening through that front leg and bringing the nose in the same direction as the knee. And just listening to your breath. Awesome. Using your next inhale. Inhaling it up. Hands around that front foot. Untucking the mat. Rounding onto the hands. We're going to slide ourselves back right to that child's pose. Good. Taking 2 breaths here. Maybe thinking of reaching the hands a little bit longer. Maybe observing the difference between the hips. Awesome. From here, we'll reach those hands forward. And gently bringing that left foot up in between the hands. Awesome. Left knee over left ankle. Bring the hands to frame that foot. If we want to, we can tuck that right leg just to move it around a little bit. We can double tuck the mat to find padding. And then pressing into the top of that right foot. We'll slowly find what feels good here. Fingertips framing that front foot, or hands on the ground here, or opening up. If we do so to open up, or if we're coming up, making sure we're not just sinking just into that right hip. We want to still think of engaging the legs and the inner thighs towards each other, so still finding a little bit of integrity in the spine, in the lower pelvis, and then from here, hands in prayer, or we can inhale them up, or going right back down, because that is where I am today. Good. Just finding a little bit of grace, finding your breath. You might notice that you've started to warm up without moving much, just because it's nice and intense maybe. Taking 1 more deep breath here. Wonderful. From here, grounding down through the hands, we're going to walk that left foot out, so toes in the same direction as the knee still. Bring the hands into the instep of the foot here. Just thinking of opening up through the chest, drawing the shoulder blades down away from the ears. Maybe still feeling a nice stretch in the hamstrings or in the quads with that right leg. Nice and controlled, nice and careful. Using the core, so thinking of the core as we come up, because we want to make sure we're nice and strong here. And then we're going to walk it back. Bring the toes, the left toes up to the sky, bending as much as you want through the knee. Right hip over right knee. If we feel like we're sinking the hip towards the heel, just come forward a little bit and then readjust. Okay, bending the knees, the left knee or nose to knee. Bring the nose towards the knee. Just moving around, finding that stretch that feels good to you in the back of that left leg. Using your own inhale, we'll inhale, walk those hands up. Bring that front foot, tuck that back toe, just to untuck that mat maybe, ground it down to the hands. We're gonna work it right back into a child's pose. Sink the hips back, maybe noticing how the tops of the legs feel here. Good. I'm gonna walk those hands forward. Inhaling ourselves into a kneeling plank. So inhaling, shoulders over the wrists. Then exhaling everything down onto the ground. We're going to come into a cobra. Bring the hands side to side, or a baby cobra. Drawing the shoulders away from the ears, opening up through the chest. Think of pressing to the tops of the feet here. And then exhale, slowly bringing the nose or the forehead, not the nose, just the nose down. The forehead down to the ground. Keeping the hands beside the sides. On our next inhale, we're going to inhale, drop the shoulders away from the ears, opening up through the chest. Exhale, soften it down. Going 2 more times, following our own breath. Inhaling it up. Exhaling down. One last time, follow your breath. Exhale. Rounding down through the hands. Exhale, right back to a child's pose. Wonderful. Then we're going to inhale, reaching those hands forward, bringing that right knee up to the right wrist. And from here, walking that left leg back and always kicking the plants. I need to adjust the plants position. Okay, we're moving ourselves into a pigeon. Pigeon has many different variations, so we can find a pigeon seated, or I will show you pigeon on our backs just as an option as well. So first off, pigeon seated, the ankle can come in close to the hips here, or it can go further out in front. Checking out, we don't want to compromise this knee. So if we ever feel pain in the knee or pinching or tingling, come out, readjust, maybe bringing the heel closer to the hips. From here, we want to make sure that we're not just sinking onto that right side. So we want to try and work ourselves up a little bit, maybe tucking a pillow underneath that right hip. And we can stay up here, or we can slowly maybe come down, elbows on a pillow again, or elbows on the ground. And just finding your own pose. So this is option 1. If we like to, we can also come onto our backs. Bring that right foot up to the sky, right ankle on that left quad, and then gently bringing that right hand through the legs, left hand around, onto the hamstring or onto the front of the shin, whatever feels best to you. And thinking of finding a little bit of openness here. Either way, we're checking in with that right side of the leg. Maybe even that IT band area. Okay, find your breath. We're going to take 5 deep breaths here. So really move around, find where you can create a little bit of space. So find where you can find that stretch. I said the word find about 5 times, but that's okay. Listening to our own breath, on your own, 5 breaths from here. Using our next inhale, inhale it up, using the hands, walking yourselves up. If we're on our back, we can let go through the feet, letting the feet go to the ground, knees up to the sky. We'll switch legs from there. From here, we're going to walk that heel in, coming up onto the knee a little bit maybe, and then just bring ourselves into hands and knees. If we're on our back, rock with the knees in the chest maybe. So just move around, finding whatever kind of counter pose works best for you. And from here, we're going to just maybe draw some circles with that right knee. On our back, we can be just rocking the knees from side to side, or we can come to hands and knees. Okay, going the other way. Good. And then we're just gonna bring ourselves back to a child's pose on your exhale. Soften it down. One nice long breath. Using our next inhale, inhaling, bring the left knee up to the left wrist, walking that right leg back. And from here, just observing and checking in, bringing the heel in closer to the hips if we like to here, or further up, whatever you need to move around a little bit. If we feel like we're sinking onto that left hip, we can always bring a pillow under there. So bringing the hips up even maybe a little bit, and then exhale, going down. If we want to just stay up here because it's nice, stay up here. Okay. And same thing, 5 breaths from here. Using your next inhale, we'll slowly come up. If we're on our backs, we're going to roll to one side and then gently work ourselves into a seated position. If we're on our abdomen, we're going to work ourselves into hands and knees for a sec. And then roll some circles with that leg, the left knee. And then the other direction. Doesn't matter what direction you go first. Whatever works. Okay. We're going to bring ourselves into a seated position. So maybe rocking through. And then from here, find whatever seated position works best for you, just for 2 deep breaths. All we're going to do, maybe choosing the same one we did at the beginning of class, we're just going to observe how the hips feel. Maybe they feel looser. Maybe they just feel more grounded or more weighted. So whatever it may be for you, maybe just closing your eyes, allowing ourselves to observe and listening to our own breath here. Softening through the shoulders. Relaxing the jaw and the forehead. Allowing any last bit of tension in the chest or the abdomen to just go. And then completely relaxing through those hips, through the legs, the knees and the feet. If we'd like to, we can just stay seated here as long as we want. Thank you all so much for practicing with me today and just taking this time for yourself. If we'd like to, we can bring the hands to heart center. Taking one final breath together. Until we meet again, namaste.